Okay, we're looking at radius authentication with the JNCIE and whether the users are present and how remote templates may be assigned. So let's start from the top. Let's imagine a user's logging into the JNCIE and the radius is configured to be first. So the user, let's use a user that is also configured in the box, something like knock. So yes, radius is first. We got to the radius server. Knock authenticates without any issue. Is there a special template assigned? No. The user's present on the box, yes, and we authenticate. All right then, so now let's try a user that isn't on the box. Let's try user Jim. All right then, so user Jim tries to log in. We're going to the radius first. So we head off to the radius server, and Jim is actually present with his password in the radius server. He authenticates. And is a template assigned, special template? No. Is the user present? No. And here's where the remote user really needs to be present, because Jim may have authenticated on the radius server, but he doesn't have a class. And we want to be inheriting that class from the remote user. Now, if the remote user isn't configured and doesn't have a class, he can't inherit it, and it will fail. Now, the class that we're using in our example for the remote user is called limited. Now, here we have a fail, but the radius server could have assigned a different template. Now, remember, a template is just a user without a password. So to turn a user into a template, remove the password. So let's try again with Jim. So Jim comes into the into the JNCIE. Radius is configured first, so he heads off to the radius server. He is present, he does authenticate, and so he's looking pretty good. Now the radius server assigns a template to Jim, and that template is present on the JNCIE device. So it's not the remote template, but it is a configured template, and he can authenticate. So the radius server can help you out and save you by assigning these templates. If it doesn't, then the remote user really needs to be present. Okay, so let's have a look at the classes that we have configured and the users. So set system login, class limited, permissions, view and view configuration. Set system login, user, remote, class, limited. So here we have, we've created a class here. We've called it limited. It's got some of the permissions, but not all, and we've assigned it to the user remote. And you can see down here that this allows anyone to be logging in, and then they can get assigned the remote because it's present, and if they're authenticated, and then they will inherit that class limited. So let's look at the next one. Set system login, user ops class operator. So that's a well-known class there, and authentication plain text. Then we have user login class privileged, permissions all. Like limited, we're creating this class. And then set system login class privilege, deny commands, clear, configure, edit, and start shell. So what we've done there is we've created this class privilege by giving it all the permissions, and then we've removed 4 of these permissions from it. Then finally, set system login, user knock, class privileged. So we're assigning it to the user knock, and we're putting in the user knock's authentication password in plain text. So there we have it. That's the way that templates can be assigned.